We come to lap 30, guys. Myself, Verstappen and Russell are nose to tail. Mediums, hards, and soft tires. Once again, 3 different compounds battling here at the end of the race. So far this season, I have carried the soft tires to very high, I have carried them to very good performances. We are going side by side with Max Verstappen as we both have DRS, thanks to Russell. Here we go. Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Turbo Fox Races and welcome back to F1 23 career mode. Driving alongside my hero Fernando Alonso for Cognizant Aston Martin Racing. Guys, I know it's been a few weeks that you've guys seen an episode. For those of you guys that don't know, you're going to know now. New job, new routine, very tired, currently working 7 days a week thanks to a very unfortunate situation at my job, but I am still trying to find time whenever I can to make content, so please don't think that I've forgotten about any of you guys because I haven't. But let's get straight into the episode. Okay. So we are heading towards one of my favorite races on the entire calendar. We are heading to Marina Bay for the Singapore Grand Prix. Now guys, heading into this episode, Aston Martin have got so much momentum right now, especially my side of the garage. We really have good momentum, and slowly but surely, the championship battle against Leclerc, Verstappen, and Hamilton are looking stronger for us and more glim for them. If we can secure a victory this weekend, we can really start to calm down getting towards the end of the season, unless we have a massive blunder sometime. As actually one of our durability upgrades failed, which to me was kind of sad, because I'm really trying to get this Aston Martin to be a little bit more reliable, as you guys already know. But you guys can see there's a lot of upgrades that actually do come onto the car. We even get a supplier upgrade from Mercedes themselves. So we actually have to repurchase the control electronics, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the most expensive upgrade that failed, so I wasn't too dimmed when it came to that. And heading into this weekend, guys, like I said, momentum is on our side, especially on my side of the garage, and it reflects in the performance index. As you guys can see, we at Aston Martin still lead the way as the quickest car with Red Bull P2. There's a tight battle for P3 between Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes. And then you've got the rest of the pack, which basically Haas, Williams, and Alpine are battling away for 6th to 8th. And then 9th is Alfa Romeo and 10th is Alfa Tauri. But those 5 teams are closer to one another than we at Aston Martin are to Mercedes that are currently in 5th. It's an extremely, extremely close grid, this, and anything can happen. And as you guys have seen, if you've been following the season along with me, it depends from track to track which teams are the best. And Singapore, if we look at tracks from earlier in the season where downforce was a big thing, it wasn't Aston Martin's strongest point, but the car that we drove earlier this season and the car we're driving now is 2 completely different animals. So, and we've done a lot of aerodynamic work on this car, developing the aerodynamics of it because it didn't have the best aero. It still has a reasonably poo-poo chassis, but the aero is a lot better. And guys, look at the result at the end of Q1. Almost 0.6 of a second to Oscar Piastri, we take pole. But here's the thing, I do not see Fernando Alonso. And I am in utter shock right now because Alonso has been knocked out in Q1 in qualifying. Zhou, Alonso, Tsunoda, Sargent, and De Vries have been knocked out in Q1. This car for me felt on rails and Alonso gets knocked out in Q1. It shows you guys how one team can have 2 completely different weekends on different sides of the garage. We go for our first lap in Q2, and guys, as you guys can see, we do a 29.4. This is a scrubbed set of tires. And as Q2 progressed, nobody knocked me off pole position, even with fresh, soft tires. Only by the end of the session, the only two people managing to jump me is Hamilton and Norris. So we've got two fresh sets of soft tires for Q3. Out in Q2 is Ocon, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Albon, and Valtteri Bottas. So, guys, currently, this is like we literally have all the pace in our back pocket. I've got two fresh sets of tires, and with a scrubbed set of tires, I was less than 2/10 behind the fastest lap sitter, which was Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. So I felt good, the car felt good, and it honestly just felt on rails. And for those of you guys that don't know, I've got a very, very big soft spot for Singapore. I love driving here. I just love this track's layout. To me, it's awesome, and I do rate the middle sector improvement of taking out two of the chicanes. So first lap in Q3, fresh soft tires. We almost take a second off of our Q2 best lap with a 128.5, and it is now time for our final lap in Q3. We are still on provisional pole position. Sainz P2 for Ferrari, Verstappen P3 for Red Bull, Russell P4 for Mercedes, and Norris P5 for McLaren. The only outside shot here was Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. He's the only not top five teams player that's here, and he's basically slotted into my teammate Alonso's position. But as you guys can see here, we are slightly up on our fastest time, guys. My first lap in Q3 was absolutely astonishing. Like, the car just, no mistakes, no big mistakes. The car just felt planted. It felt like fresh super glue setting on a surface. And as you guys can see now, we head down to the middle sector, and as the track's improving, we are gaining time. We're 3/10 up on our fastest lap already. It's already a purple sector 1. Can we get a purple middle sector as we go over the Marina Bay Bridge? Open up the DRS on this little back straight, now heading into the newly revised part of the middle sector, through the hairpin at the end of the back straight, and now down this little section of road where there used to be a chicane. It's now just straight towards the final chicane. Half a second up, it is a purple middle sector. Through the final chicane with just 2 double left-handers to go. Nearly flat out corners, just yank the car in, put your foot down, and we come over the line in P1, baby. P1 on the road, 3/4 of a second faster than anyone else. Leclerc P2, Russell P3, Sainz P4, and then the 2 Red Bulls line up 5th and 6th. We are looking dominant, guys, and like I said at the beginning of the video, if we can manage to take a win here at Marina Bay, the championship is starting to look bleak for the rest of my competitors, but points are awarded for in the race. Let's head straight there.
Marina Bay hosted a Grand Prix that briefly ran in the 60s and 70s, but the Garden City re-entered the calendar for good in 2008. We missed it for a couple of years, but it was great to come back to the Singapore Grand Prix. Things have changed slightly around the Marina Bay circuit for 2023. 4 corners have been taken out, the lap length reduced to just over 3 miles. That might be a welcome relief to the drivers, might be even more of a relief for their brakes. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. O'Connor lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Sainz, Verstappen, Norris, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Ocon, Perez, Magnussen, Albon, Bottas, Joe, Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda, Sargent, De Vries, and Nico Hulkenberg rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And a warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about O'Connor. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances. But what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another good race today.
Pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix awaits alongside Charles Leclerc in P2. Sergio Perez has been pushed back to P11 thanks to a penalty. My teammate Alonso is coming from the back, guys. And guys, one thing that I already noticed throughout practice and qualifying was that the tire wear was really bad. A one stop is possible, but the final 5 to 8 laps of every stint is just anarchy. And with the pace I have in this car, I think a 2-stop, even though it's a little bit risky, it is definitely possible. So we're going for the 2-stop, going for a very push-friendly strategy, as everybody is either starting on hards or mediums. If I were Alonso, I would have strapped on the softs and gone quickly and do a 2-stop, just my strategy reversed. But guys, let's head to the formation lap.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can. And they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
Guys, it is time for the Singapore Grand Prix as we line up once again on pole position in this British racing green Aston Martin. Two very hungry Ferraris are behind us, as well as the black Mercedes of George Russell. And don't count out those 2 Red Bulls or those 2 McLarens. Anything and everything can happen on the streets of Marina Bay. But now it is time for those beautiful 5 red lights, and it's go for the Singapore Grand Prix. Beautiful start of the line from myself and Leclerc, but Leclerc gets the jump on me. We defend towards the inside. Leclerc hits us from behind. He's over the curb. Him and Sainz make contact. Leclerc is wingless. Sainz has got to have damage. Russell is still in P3, just surviving that anarchy. But here we go. We've already broken away. I did not know why Leclerc ran into the back of me. I literally just kept moving towards the inside there. He was not alongside me. I had the fullest right to do that. Russell right behind Carlos Sainz now as Leclerc is dropping like a stone, being without a front wing. And Sainz is having some incredible understeer. That Ferrari must have wing damage. I honestly hope Ferrari don't put them on exactly the same lap. Sainz can survive one extra lap with the front wing damage. Leclerc has to come in at the end of lap 1 and Sainz at the end of lap 2. For them to have the best possible chance of good points here today. But let's have a replay here of what happened. Leclerc gets an absolutely gobsmacking launch off the line. You guys can see I defend, and then he decides to go to the outside, but then hesitates and comes back to the inside, hits me, bounces over the sausage curb on the inside, directly into the path of his teammate. Guys, let me know in the comments down below. I don't think there was anything wrong with that move. I kept my inside line. I opened myself up to Russell on the outside, but he just had a terrible launch, so he couldn't go for the move on the outside. And Sainz literally just nipped Leclerc, but it was enough to completely rip off Leclerc's front wing and for Sainz to damage his left front end plate. So that is just Ferrari doing Ferrari things. Ferrari did a Ferrari, and they are basically out of the Singapore Grand Prix. Meantime, at the back of the grid, my teammate Alonso is having a 3-wide moment here with one of the Alfa Romeos and the Alfa Tauris, but he's struggling to get past them. It's Tsunoda on his inside and Bottas on his outside, and towards the inside we go, well, within the sandwich we go. Alonso manages to get the Alfa Tauri, but can't get the Alfa Romeo of Valtteri Bottas. Actually, that looks like Zhou. No, it is Bottas. It is Bottas. Zhou is ahead of Bottas. And Perez has gotten himself all the way up into P10. Pierre Gasly has gone up to P8 from P10. And where's Ocon gone? Ocon has dropped down to P13 from starting No, actually, Gasly was P9. Ocon was P10 because of Perez's penalty. So one side of the Alpine garage is looking good, the other side not so much. And as all these guys, besides myself, Sainz and Russell, are stuck behind the wingless Charles Leclerc, and because it's Singapore, they are not able to pass Leclerc, they are just dropping like stones as myself, Sainz and Russell are running away. But also with Sainz's front wing damage, I basically have a free open track in front of me, and there is nothing that's going to stop me right now. So you guys can see I'm already heading towards the final chicane as these guys are still coming into the corner. But will Ferrari once again do another Ferrari-like thing and box both their cars? Sainz is coming in. That's a big mistake, and I can guarantee you guys they're not going to keep Leclerc out without a front wing. He will be black flagged then. So Ferrari do another Ferrari and box both cars. If I were Ferrari, I would have kept Sainz out, even if he had to let Russell go. Keep Sainz out, box Leclerc, box Sainz the next laps, because now Leclerc is going to lose so much time. It's not even funny. Leclerc is basically out of this race as far as I am concerned. What an absolutely... Just a really silly strategy here from Ferrari. But once again, Ferrari doing Ferrari things. How else will the world function without Ferrari doing Ferrari things? We now look onto lap 2 as we look at Oscar Piastri going for a very audacious move here on Pierre Gasly, as these two guys are giving each other minimum room as Gasly nearly squeezed Oscar Piastri into the wall, and Oscar had a little jolt towards Gasly, but that is Oscar Piastri now up into P6 as Gasly is down to P7. Alpine flying high right now with Pierre Gasly, but against these top cars you guys can clearly see which cars are the top 5 fastest teams. Perez gets himself now up into P7. Well, he's trying to get himself up into P7, but Gasly is fighting this immensely hard. But Perez eventually makes the move stick. Well, every time I think Perez sticks the move, Gasly just redirects me. But finally, Perez hangs it around the outside, and he is up into P7. Gasly, though, does have DRS, and here comes Albon behind them in the Williams. It's a very tight battle here. The Red Bull straight line speed as the season has progressed has really gone down. Where other teams have gained, it's as if their straight line speed has kind of stayed the same. So everybody has caught up to them now. But finally Perez gets rid of Gasly, and now we look at Kevin Magnussen and Alex Albon coming from behind onto Pierre Gasly. And guys, again, at this stage, I was wondering what was going on with Gasly, and it turns out he did have some sort of mechanical issue, Alpine just being Alpine, and he was busy dropping like a stone. I mean, Perez is already, 4 seconds up the road? It's insane. So Gasly was really struggling, and here comes Albon and his teammate Ocon as they nearly go 3 wide into T1. Albon is looking like he's going to make the move stick, but Ocon is still a constant threat from behind for his teammate. We jump to lap 6, and now I would not... Oh my word, no, Alpine. You're not supposed to take inspiration from Ferrari, as Ocon and Gasly have just ruined each other's races as they've done exactly the same as Ferrari. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding me. Actually, it's only Gasly who's got damage. Ocon is still running, and by lap 7, Sainz has already caught up to the back of the field. How quick is this Ferrari actually? Well, is it a blessing in disguise that the Ferraris took each other out? Because it seems like with the pace that those two cars have, I might have been in a bit of trouble. As Alonso is struggling to get through the field here, he's finally mounting a move here on Valtteri Bottas around the outside of the fin, and Alonso will have a beautiful drive coming out of the 3rd corner as he's now going to chase after the Alfa Romeo of Guan Yu Zhou. We now look at a replay here of Carlos Sainz as he's tucked up right underneath the rear wing of Nick de Vries. It's an easy run into the 1st corner, the Ferrari being a much superior car on fresher and grippier tyres, softs, mediums versus hards. To the inside we go, and it's an easy move for Carlos Sainz as he's going to chase down the rest of the pack. We now look at Alonso on lap 9 as he's going to try and make a move here on Guan Yu Zhou, and this will get Alonso closer to the points. Zhou defends very, very aggressively, but Alonso is towards the inside of the first DRS detection zone. Around the outside for this next hairpin will give Alonso the drive if Zhou doesn't squeeze him, which he doesn't. Beautiful power on the way out for Alonso, and that is now P11. as we now once again look at Carlos Sainz trying to get past the Williams of Logie Bear, Logan Sargent. Sainz opts for the outside. A beautiful late braking from the smooth operator himself as he's around the outside of the Williams. We now jump to lap 11, guys. Our personal POV, nothing much has happened for us. We have just managed a 3.5 to 4 second gap to George Russell behind us. And with Verstappen and the rest of them being held up by Leclerc at the beginning, they just haven't been able to catch up. And we've been managing the gap so calmly and so chilled. It's not even funny. But the guys, now my 2-stop will commence. We box this lap. The tires the rears are touching 40%. So now it is time for a second set of mediums, and then at the end of the race, we will box for the soft compound tires. I almost said the hard compound tires, which would be a massive mistake. But into the pit lane we go, off of the one set of mediums, onto the second set. And where are we going to emerge? As long as we come out ahead of Kevin Magnussen, that would be the best possible thing right now that could happen to us. It doesn't seem likely because here comes Kevin Magnussen. Down the main straight we go. Into T1, we've got a much tighter and slower line. And the Magnussen is just around our outside. But this is not going to be the hardest move to make. As soon as the tires are up to temperature and we can start pushing, we're going to get past this Haas in a very quick and easy fashion. You guys can see we've already got a slight grip advantage just through that previous corner, as now we are slowly but surely cruising up to the rear end of the Haas. We're not going to waste too much battery on this little straight. You guys can see through the corner, the Haas is so slow out of the corner. Easy dive up the inside of the hairpin. Give Magnussen a bit of a squeeze, and that is us ahead of the Haas. And now we can start pushing with the clean air in front of us. We now look at the Ferrari. Is this Leclerc or is this Sainz? But I think this is Leclerc now also going past the freeze, which his teammate Sainz has already dealt with. But actually, this is Sainz because that is Yuki Tsunoda's helmet, as Sainz is battling hard to get this Ferrari back into the points. And guys, considering the pace of this Ferrari, it is very clear that these two cars crashing at the beginning of the race was a blessing in disguise, because I think they would have absolutely swept to the floor with Red Bull, Mercedes and McLaren today. Alonso is currently sitting in P11 as Sainz is up to P14, Leclerc is up to P17. And now we look at Lewis Hamilton battling Lando Norris for one of which could become a podium position at the end of the race. Hamilton towards to the inside of Norris. Who is going to come out on top here? The papaya orange McLaren or the black Mercedes? Side by side as we head into the very, very technical middle sector. Who is going to have the biggest cajonas? It looks like it's Hamilton at this stage as he makes a beautiful move around the outside of his young compatriot, and he is now up into P3, but that is a net P4. We now jump on to lap 12 as Charles Leclerc, who actually went onto a set of softs after the first lap incident. I think Leclerc's going to go on to hards now and push to the end of the race. Yes, Leclerc is. So let's see what he can do with the undercut of that Ferrari. He's got a lot of clean air now, and I'm sure Sainz is not going to be too far behind Charles into the box. Although I think Sainz is running mediums right now. As you guys see lap 14, we've already caught up to the back of Sergio Perez as we go for an absolutely incredible move in the middle sector. Things are happening so quickly now that my commentary is a little bit slow. And you guys can see Oscar Piastri. Look at the difference in braking performance between fresh and old tires, guys. Easy move up the inside of the Australian as we now chase towards the man who just lost out to Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris. We are right behind Lando as we head onto the straight. And again, this is going to be a quick and easy pass. We've got the grip all around the track and our corner exits are a lot better right now. Easy move up the inside of Lando Norris as we now chase after the 7-time, should be 8-time world champion Lewis Hamilton into this next section. Hamilton is very slow through the hairpin, guys, as these guys are really just scratching and clawing for any little bit of grip. And I've got more than enough to go around, but I don't want to share. I'm going to use all of it for myself. Up the inside of Lewis, easy move. And now we chase, we actually look at Lewis at the end of that lap, diving it into the pit lane, as he is now going to strap on a set of hard tires to run to the end of the race. As I think 90% of the drivers, well, close to 90%, are actually on this one-stop strategy. I think us with the two Ferraris are the only 3 cars on the two-stop strategy. Albon comes into the pit lane. Alonso dives it into the pit lane as they are all going to go onto the hard compound tires now. We now look at Carlos Sainz, guys. Well, I want to look at Carlos Sainz to see if Carlos is actually also coming into the pit lane or whether Carlos is actually staying out for another lap. But here we go. Alonso off of the mediums, onto the hards. Tsunoda goes past and Sainz as well. So I think Sainz has stayed out for a few more laps compared to his teammate Leclerc. We now look at Esteban Ocon as, there's a little bit of a jolt there in the Alpine's rear end, and there's smoke coming from the back of the Alpine. Gasly struggled with some sort of mechanical issue at the beginning of the race, but at least he kept racing. Ocon's car just decided, nah man, nah fam, I'm done, I'm out, I'm French, I deserve a break. So Ocon is out. He is out of the Singapore Grand Prix. We now head into the pit lane again. It's lap 16. I think a lot of these guys hoped that there would be a safety car, which there wasn't. Sainz is in, off of the hards, off of the mediums, onto the hards. Will he be jumped by Leclerc, though? I think Sainz will be the quicker car at the end of the race, thanks to his tires being so much fresher than Charles's tires. But I think this undercut might have done wonders for Charles, as yes, he jumps his teammate, but I'm sure later on in the race, Charles will let Carlos pass, because now these two Ferraris are in it all the way to the end, and let's see how many cars they can catch. Lap 16 and George Russell, the end of lap 16, and George Russell comes into the pit lane as we go past to take back the lead. Verstappen follows Russell's example, and I think Norris might follow as well. Yes, Lando Norris is in as well. Piastri and Perez have stayed out and they have continued on with me, but these guys are going to be my biggest threats at the end of the race. Russell, Verstappen, and most probably Hamilton. Not so much Lando. The McLaren seems to be dropping off of pace a bit here as the race gets towards the middle now. I think Lewis is going to be a bigger threat than Lando at this current stage. But into the first few corners, has Hamilton stayed ahead of Norris? Yes, he has, with a comfortable margin. And now we look at Oscar Piastri and Sergio Perez, as I'm almost certain Perez was ahead of Piastri at the end of the previous lap. I might be mistaken, but the Aussie and the Mexican are in off of their hards onto their mediums. They are also going to be pushing towards the end of this race, but let's see what these two can do. Will Red Bull jump McLaren in the pit lane? No, they will not. The McLaren crew in 2023 have been absolute animals. Nobody beats McLaren in the pit stops this year. Norris comes past, so Piastri and Perez are slot back into P6 and P7, but they are now on fresh mediums compared to all the drivers ahead of them being on slightly used hards. Things might get interesting. We now look back here at my teammate Fernando Alonso, who's still battling with Valtteri Bottas. How? Or is Bottas actually on a two-stop? I think Valtteri might be on a two-stop along with the two Ferraris and myself. That car is not the car to be doing a two-stop in unless you're really, really desperate, which must be the case right now. But we now look here at Carlos Sainz, right behind Guan Yu Zhou, and this is going to be an easy move, guys. What is Zhou going to do about this? The answer is nothing, as up the inside goes Carlos Sainz. Zhou is going to try and defend this, but it's a baby Ferrari versus the Ferrari, so I highly doubt there's anything that Zhou can do. To the inside goes Sainz, and now he's going to chase after his teammate, which is 2.5 seconds up the road. We come to lap 22, and Sainz is right behind Leclerc. Will these two fight, or will Ferrari just let Sainz go? I think the smart thing to do is to let Sainz go. Charles does not think the same thing. He fights it a little bit, but not as hard as all the other cars around them have been fighting them. And that is now Sainz ahead of Leclerc. But now, guys, so our final stop, it has come to lap 23. The rears have started to touch 40 again. I know I don't have the biggest, the lead that I wanted, but it is still big enough. We can still work wonders with this. Into the lane we go for a fresh set of soft tires, or I think they might be slightly scrubbed.
Okay, off we go, back into the race.
Let's see, guys. Yes, they are slightly scrubbed, a slightly scrubbed set of soft tires, but that is still all that I need to get to the end of this race. So we are out behind Norris. Will we jump? Well, will we stay ahead of Piastri and Sergio Perez? Quite comfortably, we do, as we are now going to chase after both Mercs, one McLaren and a Red Bull. We come to lap 25 and we are already sniffing the gearbox oil of Lando Norris's McLaren. Here we go. We can also see Lewis in a very short distance ahead of us. Inside to outside. Norris defends the inside. Easy move around the outside. We have got tons more grip right now as we now chase after Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. It's still lap 25. And you guys can see corner for corner how I am just yanking meters out of Lewis. There's nothing they can do. I can just carry so much more speed. Easy run through here. DRS is open, and once again I'm going to go for the Dive Bomb Boy McGee because I've got the grip advantage and we are up the inside of the 7-time world champion. There is 8.3 seconds to George Russell, but the grip advantage we have is immense. We can easily chase that time down without any problem. We jump to lap 28, guys, as we are now looking at Lewis Hamilton going through this middle section point. Oh my word, Lewis just has a massive moment. He has a spin, hits the wall, and loses 3 positions to Norris, Piastri, and Perez. Lewis was just so eager on the throttle there. The Merc just stepped, and Lewis's car has gone round. P4 has been thrown away by Hamilton and he's down to P7. A little bit of late drama here. Luckily he can continue and there's no safety car, but that could have been so close. We come to lap 30, guys. Myself, Verstappen and Russell are nose to tail. Mediums, hards, and soft tires. Once again, 3 different compounds battling here at the end of the race. So far this season, I have carried the soft tires to I have carried them to very good performances. We are going side by side with Max Verstappen as we both have DRS, thanks to Russell. Here we go, around the outside. We still do have a slight grip advantage as we get the move done on Verstappen, but that is still not P1, and there is just a lap and 3/4 to go. Myself, Russell, Verstappen, this is going to be very close. Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Red Bull, as we have completely taken Ferrari out of the occasion of this race. Still, guys, I think it's a blessing in disguise because those 2 cars look so incredibly quick. I just don't know what would have happened if they were in this little battle that we have right now. You guys can see I'm a bit late on the brakes heading through the hairpin as we allow Verstappen to get a bit closer to us, but we are still within DRS of George Russell. And as we're going to start the final lap, my rear tires will tick over 40%, but these softs still feel very good. And it's going to be a battle for the win here at Singapore on the final lap of the Grand Prix, just like in real life. The only difference is this time there is no Ferrari involved. But the final lap here at Singapore, we've got a battle for the rubber-dub-dub. Russell, myself, Verstappen, all nose to tail. I'm not close enough to Russell to go for the move, to go for a dive into the first corner. Through T2 and T3, we're going to try and carry as much momentum as possible as we are right up underneath the gearbox here of the young Brit. Into this next section as we will have DRS on Russell. We've saved up a little bit of battery. It's not much. The car is skating around on the rear end as there is no longer so much grip as I would like. Towards this next corner we go. To the outside of George Russell. It's very close. Russell makes a little bit of contact to try and defend, but I gave him more than enough room, and that is us up into P1. But this race is not one and done. There is still time for something to happen. But Russell and Verstappen even trouble. Verstappen tried to make a move there on Russell and he was forced to defend. So the gap has instantly gone to 1.5 seconds. But let's have a quick look here at the replay. Let's see what happened here. You guys can see the rear end of my Aston is just shaking around as I've used up all the necessary grip that I needed to get back to this position. To the outside we go. There's nothing Russell can do. That little bit of contact, but we are still all good. And with Russell making the contact, he actually had a little bit of a rear end slither, and the car, it's as if the rear end of the car is just upset, and that enabled Verstappen to sit right underneath his gearbox and for me to just break away quickly. But again, it is not one and done here on the streets of Marina Bay. Here we go through the middle sector. You guys can see it is still Verstappen really wants this P2. He realizes there's a lot of championship points at stake here. And once again, I'm going to get the maximum of 26 points because my fastest lap is way faster than anyone else could put up. And I am currently, once again, back in the lead. Verstappen trying desperately to get closer to that black Mercedes. but Russell is doing a brilliant job just to keep him behind, and thanks to his mistakes after he made contact with me, it's 1.7 seconds. We have a little bit of a rear end wiggle there through the final chicane, but there's nothing that Russell can do. Beautiful fight back, two-stop work it to perfection. It's the dub here in Singapore.
Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
They've endured the harsh conditions here in Singapore then. What do you think helped them deliver this result?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
It's time to present the top drivers with their trophies for today's Grand Prix. And there are a lot of people in the paddock very happy with this result. It's Aston Martin on the top step.
Aston Martin on the top step. Guys, the championship is slowly but surely being sealed. I don't know what it's been with this Aston Martin since we got that first victory, even though we got second place the race directly after. Ever since our first victory, it's as if Aston and myself, we've gotten on the momentum train, and the train has just left the station and has refused to come back. We take fastest lap by over a second. We get the win, the full 26 points. Alonso manages P10 and he manages to fend off the two Ferraris for that final point, even though Alonso should have been a lot higher than that. Well done to Albon, and Magnussen for such an exceptional performance. Even Sergio Perez had a really good performance today. The two Alpines completely pooped the bed. So I think there was big points on play here for Gasly. Even with the engine problem, if he didn't have the issues with Ocon, I think Pierre could have scored points today. But our only retirement was Esteban Ocon. And I'm now looking at the championship standings, guys. Look how grim it looks for Verstappen, Leclerc, and Hamilton. Verstappen is 18.7 points behind me. So I think if I win the next race, the championship might be sealed. So the momentum we've been on has just been so incredible that it's almost impossible for us to lose at this stage. The championship is we've already got one hand on the trophy. We just need to get the second hand to touch it now as well. And constructors wise, it's still far from one. If either Red Bull, I think Merc is out of it now. But even if either Red Bull or Ferrari just decide to show up with with very big intent, the constructors is still in danger. But I mean, I've been doing what Alonso has been doing in real life for Aston Martin, and I've been carrying the team on my back. So one thing that seems a little bit more certain now is the fact that by the end of the season, we're going to be searching for a new seat. Constructors looks healthy, the drivers look incredible, and we've got 6 wins to our name now, and 8 podiums. 8 out of 11 podiums. That's kind of insane. I kind of understand now why I'm so far ahead. And the next race, we're going to Qatar. So there's a sprint race. We're heading towards a sprint weekend, guys. So you guys know the next video is going to be an absolute banger of a video. But guys, again, let me know in the comments down below that race starting incident, the one you're seeing on screen right now. Was that my fault? I don't think it was. I think I defended like I was fully legalized to do, and Leclerc just pooped the bed a bit. But if you disagree, you're more than welcome to let me know. But to be honest, guys, this Aston Martin was the car to beat this weekend. We were by far the quickest in practice. We were by far the quickest in qualifying. And the fact that I pulled off a 2-stop, even though it was only on the final lap, the point is, on this year's game, especially at this stage of the season where the cars are so close, to pull off a 2-stop is not the easiest thing to do. I can honestly tell you guys, after I made this move on Hamilton, I was worried that I was not going to catch Verstappen and Russell. I was honestly like, yep, I just threw away a win. I just threw away a win because I was too scared to struggle for grip on a one-stop. And I just should have kept confidence because clearly the pace in this Aston was insane. So let's see what happens the next race. Can we take the championship the next race, considering it's a sprint weekend and there's more than 26 points on offer? We'll have to wait and see. And for you to see that, you're going to have to be subscribed. So if you have not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below and don't forget to ding that bell to never miss a future video here on Turbo Fox Racers. Make sure to drop a like down below on the video as well while you're down there. And go check out the links in the description down below for all my social media pages, as there are big things coming in 2024. Guys, it's honestly been... I don't know what more to say. Verstappen and Russell really gave me a proper battle here at the end. But again, this number 51 Aston was the superiorest, the most superior car this weekend. And I think it's the quickest this car has been. Like, nothing could touch this car, and the car's performance seriously impressed me. Can we keep this momentum up heading towards Qatar? A new track. Let's see what happens in Qatar. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. God bless, and I'll see you for whatever video, live stream, or short comes next. Cheers!